Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to do a video. My buddy Greg did a video actually last week talking about, goal cards and how they change and how they've changed, I guess, in your collecting journey. And it kind of triggered something with me, and I'm like, oh, you know what? That's a cool concept. And I'm sorry I'm stealing your idea, Greg, but I wanted to do a video kind of talking about my, collecting adventure, I guess let's call it, since I was a kid. And then obviously I stopped for a long time and I got back into it, and what kind of were my goal cards then, what my dream cards were then, what my goal cards were now, what I've acquired towards that, and new dream cards. I'm just kind of talk about, how my collection has how I've kind of shaped the direction of my collection, over the years. So without further ado, let's jump into looking at some cards. So in my early exploration into collecting at around 9 years old, I guess, there were 3 goal cards that I had that I was able to get for my collection. So the first one I got as a birthday present, probably around the age of 10, maybe 11. And that was the 84 Topps Don Mattingly. So the cards I'm about to show that I had in my childhood, these are not the actual examples of the ones I own. Those are in a box somewhere, hopefully not thrown away in one of my parents' attics or something. But I repurchased graded copies. Obviously, when I was collecting them as a kid, grading didn't exist, but I repurchased some graded copies of them just for the nostalgia. So there was that Mattingly. And then one of the other cards I had when I was a kid, which was probably my overall favorite card, was this one, the 62 Topps Manager's Dream. Had Mays and Mantle and those guys, even when I was a kid. I mean, they still are, but when I was a kid, these guys, they're, larger than life. And I thought that was just like a super, super cool card, having their image on both of them. And I think it's probably one of the best named cards, most accurately named cards, I would say, of all time. And then lastly, when I was a kid, out of my goal cards was 89 Griffey. So my mom actually bought my brother and I a complete set of 89 Upper Deck when it first came out, and we went through it and split it, and I was able to get the Griffey from it. So all 3 of these cards to me are ultra nostalgic. They remind me of my childhood, and these were the 3 best cards. Obviously not these specific examples, like I said, but these were the 3 best cards in my collection as a kiddo. So that being said, back then, when I would go to card shows and card stores with my dad and brother, I would see cards that I loved. I loved the look of them. I loved the history around them, but I just couldn't afford them. So these I would consider these cards would be like my first dream cards. Those first dream cards would include the 68 Nolan Ryan, the 54 Topps Hank Aaron, and the 55 Topps Roberto Clemente. Like I said, I loved the look of these cards. Even as a kid, I appreciated the history and importance of them to the hobby. So I stopped collecting when I was about 14. I spent ages 14 to 40 focusing on school and friends, and then college and friends, and work, friends, grad school, friends, more work, family, more work, getting divorced, much more work, family again, and, work again, right? Even more. So for my 40th birthday, my parents wanted to give me a gift that brought me back to my childhood, right? They wanted me to be able to disconnect from the responsibilities of life, if only for a few minutes here and there. So they bought me my childhood grail, which, as you know, if you watch my channel, is this bad boy right here, the 68 Topps Jerry Koosman Nolan Ryan rookie card. Toss that Koosman in for you, Mook. They bought me this example in a 9, which was very, very generous of them for my 40th birthday. So I immediately, after getting that card, kind of rediscovered my love for baseball cards and my love for collecting them. So pretty soon after that Ryan, I went after the 2 other goal cards I had or dream cards, let's say, when I was a kid. So next up, probably about a month after my birthday, I picked up my 54 Topps Hank Aaron rookie card. I've always loved this card as a kid. I always loved the color on it. I think that orange background is pretty cool. You know, Hank Aaron being one of the greatest ball players of all time, and that's his rookie card. Like when I was a kid, I would see that thing at card shows and I'd say, wow, you know, I wish someday I could, you know, make enough money where I could afford that. So pick that up. It's kind of a childhood dream. And then probably less than a month later, I picked up my third of my 3 dream cards as a kid, the 55 Topps Clemente. Again, kind of like the Aaron, it was just, you know, it's such an iconic card. I would see them at the card shows when I was a kid, and I would just say, wow, you know, that would be something really, really cool to have one day. So, you know, when I acquired these, this was way before I even discovered card videos were even on YouTube. When I bought these, I thought YouTube was, you know, somewhere where you'd go to watch videos of, you know, how to fix things around the house, but didn't realize there were card videos on it. So had these in the collection. They're just super important to me because these were the 3 cards from when I was a kid that I loved the most. These are my dream cards, and I had finally acquired the 3 of them. So my wife and I were watching a TV show one night, probably about 4 years ago, I'd say, and they were talking about the Leaf Musial card. I always liked the look of that card, especially how the red and white kind of pops with the blue background. I thought that was just a really good looking card, just, you know, somewhat iconic card in the hobby. So I decided to set a goal of picking one up, and it took me a long time to find one that was in the condition that I wanted with the eye appeal that I wanted, but I finally was able to pick it up. Here's my Leaf 4849 Musial. This one I was able to get in a PSA 5, but I feel like that looks much better than a 5, and that's why I picked it up. So absolutely love that card. And when I picked it up, I started thinking about, okay, you know, I had acquired the Clemente, the Aaron, and the Ryan. Those were my kind of goal cards as a kid. I picked up this Musial, and I'm like, you know what? I should set a goal to pick up some more goal cards that, you know, I just find are beautiful looking cards that to an extent are iconic, at least in my opinion. So that's kind of the goal I set for myself. Again, we're still talking pre-YouTube when I set this goal, but I didn't pick up the next 2 until much later in my journey. These are both fairly recent pickups within the last year. But the second card that I had as a goal card at the time was the 1952 Topps Jackie Robinson. I absolutely love this image. I think it's probably the best image of Jackie on a card. Him being probably one of the most important, not only baseball players of all time, but one of the most important Americans of all time. I think the red background's beautiful. When I was looking at these, you know, it took me a really long time to find the example I wanted that I could actually afford. But the key for me when I was looking at these was, you know, the 52 top sets, you know, notorious for centering issues. So I really wanted something that was well centered left to right. I was willing to give up on the top to bottom because that would put it in a grade that was just too high for me to afford. But really it came down to the registration. I wanted that red background to be super clean. I didn't want any snow on the background or on Jackie. And I was just super, super thrilled to be able to pick up this example at the National last year. So I picked up my second of my goal cards as an adult. And then the third card of my you know, adult goal cards was the 1933 Goudey Ruth number 144, the full body stance, or the full body image, let's say. Was able to pick this one up in a 3. Absolutely love that card. To me, that's one of the most iconic cards in the hobby. I mean, when you look at it you know, books about the vintage hobby, you know, it's either on the cover or it's one of the first cards that they show. It's probably one of the more iconic images of the greatest player of all time. So just absolutely thrilled to have picked that one up. So I'm just thrilled that, you know, over about 5-year time period from when I got back into collecting, I was able to pick up kind of my not only the 3, I would call it dream cards from when I was a kid, but also pick up, you know, my 3 top goal cards from, you know, this round of collecting. So as my collection and my knowledge of the hobby continue to grow, I made a new list of dream cards like I did when I was a kid with the Ryan, Aaron, and Clemente. Today they're the 1936 Worldwide Gum DiMaggio, his other true rookie, along with the R312, which I added to the collection recently, the 1915 Cracker Jack Ty Cobb, and the 1948-49 Leaf Satchel Paige. I just absolutely love all three of those cards. I think they're super iconic. They're very important to the hobby, and I would love to pick them up to add them to the collection. I also set a Grail card. So I haven't talked about Grail cards yet. I've talked about gold cards. I've talked about dream cards. So I have a Grail card, which I would define as a card that's nearly untouchable from a pricing perspective, but not completely impossible, maybe someday, that I would want more than any other card. So basically it's my ultimate dream card that's not so absurdly priced that no matter what happens financially, there ain't a chance I'm getting it. So for me, that card is an M101 4/5 Babe Ruth. You know, it's Babe Ruth's rookie card. It's the rookie card of literally the greatest player of all time. It's, in my opinion, the ultimate card in the hobby. To be honest with you, I know that this card is my Grail because I was thinking about it recently. And if I had a choice between the M101 4/5 Ruth in a mid-grade or a low-graded T206 Honus Wagner, I would choose the Ruth. That's how much I love that card. As our collections grow, our tastes ebb and flow. There are some modern cards, which in my opinion, I define as cards that were made after I was born. So I'm taking an interest in some of these modern cards, not a ton, but there's some that I'm taking an interest in as of recently, as well as some cards from some other sports, right? So that's what I love the most about our hobby. It's not about a goal, right? It's about the journey. You know, we can veer off in many different paths, go many different directions along the way. And the way I view it and the way that I collect for my collection personally is, as long as I absolutely love the card I'm getting, I'm winning. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed kind of the collecting journey that I've been on, kind of the history around why I bought some of the cards that I bought and some of the goals that I'm looking for in the future. So again, hope you enjoyed. If you liked the video and you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. If you are subscribed, I appreciate your subscription. All right, guys, I will talk to you later.